Shalom, welcome to Out of Africa Torah Session. My name is Tatra Cohen, and this week we are on Parashat Vayechi, He Lived in English. It is coming from the book of Parashat, chapter 47 all the way to 50. Of course, this is the last Torah portion of the book of Parashat. I really like this Torah portion in the sense that it brings, the oneness of the family. It also deals with a number of other factors that affects the family, and it also presents to us the sense of unity which is needed if any family is going to be successful in any of the endeavors which is before them, and any of the missions that God would have probably given them as a family. And it also addresses the individual capacity that is needed to make this mission a success. Now, allow me to go back to the Haftarah of this Torah portion, which is coming from the book of 1 Kings and chapter 2. If you were to read, we hear that King David was coming to the end of his life, to the close of his life, and in preparation for the mission. Some would, of course, want to argue why, of all the sons he had, why did he just choose Solomon only? Of course, he chose Solomon because the mission that was to be done, which was at hand, had something to do with Solomon. So he more like prepares him, and the words that he used to prepare him is almost the same thing that Jacob was doing to the 12 tribes when he went into each one of them to preparing them. And the words that King David says to Solomon is exactly my message to you today. He says, make sure you keep the way of the Lord your God, to keep the way of the Lord. This is a very important way that one can prepare the other in the mission which is before us and before the house of Israel as a whole. The other thing he says also, make sure you walk in the precepts of the God of Israel. You walk in the precepts of the God of your father. This was very important message. Sometimes parents, we don't know really how we should prepare our children. But the words exactly which are very important, which comes with responsibility, the sense of responsibility, the sense of mission, is exactly the same words which King David says to his son Solomon. And the last words he says, observe or keep the teachings of Adonai's servant Moshe. This was very critical to the work which Shlomo was about to go through. And exactly, I want to say the same words to you today. The mission which is before us as the house of Israel, the mission which is before you as an individual, the mission before us as the Lemba tribe, the mission before each and every group, each and every kahila, which is represented, which is hearing my message today. You are going to be successful if you walk in the ways of the Lord your God. You're going to be very successful if you keep the mitzvot of Adonai. You are going to be successful if you delight yourself in the teachings of his servant Moshe. And this is my message today from this Torah portion, this week's Torah portion, Parashat Vayechi, he lived. So we see later on that even when their father was gone, the things that he said and he prophesied and he prayed over each and every one of his sons became true. And some of them were more serious to take heed of the words which had come from their fathers. So thank you, and as you prepare for Shabbat, I wish you a good Shabbat. And here in Africa, especially in this part of Southern Africa, we're receiving abundance of rain. We are really grateful to the Lord. We were praying for the rains, and here we have lots of rains. We want to give glory to the name of the Lord. Shalom.